Captain's Log Supplemental. How's that for a little bit of irony? A Star Trek quote with Star Wars backdrop. But anyway, today what I wanted to talk about was traumatic brain injury and how no two injuries are exactly the same. I may have a lot of the limitations that you have, or you have a lot of the limitations that I have, whichever. And one of us may be able to do something that the other one can't. The example that I wanted to use from my experience is driving. When I was 18, I worked really hard to get my driver's license. Took driving lessons. I did a lot of other things that most people probably wouldn't have had to do to get their driver's license. But what I realized a little while back was I felt like I was always driving impaired. Split-second decision making really wasn't happening, or wasn't there very, it didn't happen split second, which it should. Also, my judgment wasn't quite as good. I noticed things like, when I was going to change lanes, I'd look back and be like, it should be okay. And just kind of take a leap of faith and do it. And just doesn't feel safe anymore. I don't want to guess. I want to be sure. I don't want to be that person out on the road that is the idiot driver. That expression, if you don't see a problem with anyone else's driving, you're probably the idiot on the road. Anyway, for me, it just felt more and more like I was always driving impaired. And it wasn't just me who made this decision. I had people close to me tell me that my driving wasn't so good. So it took a little while for me to admit that, but eventually I saw that myself, that I was probably better off not driving. And with not driving, that's just one more way that traumatic brain injury limits my life now. Or, just limits the things that I can do, as far as can't really get a job that's far away. So I had to look for something within walking distance of home as far as a job was concerned. Lucky for me, I could do that. When I lived in Portland, it wasn't such an issue because I could work pretty much anywhere in the city, and there was public transportation that would get me there. Not so much anymore. So, living within walking distance of my workplace is very important to me. And that's one way that that's one thing that I'm very grateful to my employer for. The restaurant that I used to work at was closed down, but it was owned by a convenience store chain, and I applied for work in the convenience store after it closed, and was luckily I started working there. It was almost completely seamless. Right after the restaurant closed, I started working at the convenience store. It was actually kind of perfect for me because the lobby closed before the dining room closed. Uh, the lobby closed before the drive-through closed, and I didn't work drive-through. I only worked lobby. So as soon as the lobby closed, I applied at the convenience store and started working there. And then a little bit into working there, working in the convenience store, they called a meeting of all the restaurant staff and said, "We're closing." So everybody needs to find work elsewhere. Um, so the point of all this is I was very fortunate to be able to stay at a place that was nearby home. And I'm really thankful for the company that I work for that it worked out that way. So as you go through life, um, dealing with traumatic brain injury, uh, there throughout your journey there will be various hurdles put in your way, and um, you can't go around them, you can't go under them. You have to figure out the way over the hurdle. Um, I can't stress enough that there have been more of those than I can count. And driving was one of those, but giving up driving was also a very big hurdle. And finding the way over that was very important to me. I feel very fortunate that I found a way to deal with it. Anyway, this is my limitation. May not be yours. The point that I was trying to make is that all traumatic brain injuries are different. So you might have a totally different obstacle to overcome. But I guess my point is that obstacle is put in front of you and you can't give up. You have to work at it and figure out how to get over that obstacle. And you will. You will get over that obstacle. I've been doing it for 40 years. It's not easy. It takes work. And it's very discouraging sometimes, but you have to keep a positive outlook. You have to wake up every day, be grateful for what you have. Like I've said before, if it's only one thing, what's that one thing that you can be grateful for? So yeah, there's always going to be obstacles, and you'll get over them. That's my experience. I trust that will be your experience as well, and I believe that can be your experience as well. See you next time.